Alright, welcome to another City Tours. This is Ragemar, and I have come to the city of Amun. This is done by Axebite, the actual owner of the city. So we'll go ahead and take a quick tour here. Looks like we come out of the portal, and he has set up, once again, the history of the server, the different times the server's been restarted, which is always a cool place to come in if you want to kind of see what's going on. You can check those out. Go through a gate here pretty quick, and we've got a nice tunnel. Looks like eventually we'll have an arena and the town itself of Amun, and that was the Hall of History that we just came out of. Now a little bit different on this recording is I decided to record first and then try sound just to see if I could try something a little different. And here is where the graveyard will be, and also a nether portal at some point. So we'll just go ahead and take a look at this. So we've got a road. We can see a couple of sphinxes off into the distance there. A tower of some sort. We'll take a look at it in a moment. And the structure we came out of actually is a pyramid, and it's rather large, so it's kind of an interesting structure. All done in sandstone. We're in a desert theme, so I think he's using the brown and tan colors. Glowstone road with a nice bridge. So I like this road choice he's decided on this time. Axe always comes up with some cool different roads that he's done to his different towns. So here we get to our first Sphinx for Mind. I believe it's 986, but I might be wrong on the number. It's 896 or it's one of those. So I'm sure they'll correct me in the comments, but that's a cool looking Sphinx. And then here is Axebite's Sphinx. What I really liked about both of these was the different use of materials to kind of make them stand out. So the claws are kind of accented with the iron blocks and the gold bars. And I really figured that anytime you come to the server admin's town, it's always a good idea to give an offering to what we call the server gods. So there we go. We just kind of pay tribute to them. So real quick, we get to a tower here. There was no sign, so my guess is this is probably the dragon perch. So if you come by dragon, I would assume this is where you would start. And here you start to see some of the theme of the rest of the town, which is a sandstone obsidian theme. Here the moon rises, so of course in a Ragemore video, the sun sets and it turns into night. But I thought that was a really cool scene of the moon rising amongst the pyramid. Here we see some of the body parts of the different sphinxes back into the tails. And I did have a little trouble here with the screen redraw, so what I do here is I try to give it a moment to kind of compile in. The server had just changed over today, and I don't know if that was part of it or just seems like I had to refresh a little bit. This is a very big town, and that might be also one of the things here. So I kind of play around with my settings a little bit, so give me a second. And there we go, I got it all to kind of come back in. So the theme is the black obsidian against the kind of yellowish sandstone, which I really like as a color combination. It definitely stands out, and you can really get in some pretty decent architecture and accents, using those colors. And then there's plenty of other things that you can use to kind of add to it. The browns go together well with those two colors. So you have lots of different woods that you can use, so it's pretty nice. I'm going to dub this the Creeper Tower, as I interrupted a family of creepers who must have been living there, and they got mad and blew up. So I'm not sure what this is. I'm sure Axe will put up a sign at some point to tell us what that is. Could just be a workhouse outside of the town. Could be like a front gate or a guardhouse. Those were the build rules that we had looked at there on the wall. So here we come into the main structure that I would say is probably the centerpiece of Amun. Obviously it's in the center, so that makes sense, but it's also the most detailed structure that's currently here. Axe did say that there were no houses or shops or anything like that yet. That's all coming. So this is a city that's well under its way. But what we're getting to see here is mainly the city structures that he is going to put in, the wall structures, and then we'll have to see how people that buy land kind of build into that theme. It's a circular theme, so he's using some of the rounded um, center roads and outside walls, which is, I think, in this type of game always great because it's a game about squares mostly, and so we're having to be very creative to get any type of rounded structure at all. And as you can see here, this big tower, it's just amazing. So we run into the quick throne room here. We see the two thrones of Axbite and Mindy. And I believe we even take a little bit of look just to see what's around. It's an interesting floor. I'm not sure what textures he has there. I'm using the Jamziboy texture pack, so my textures might look a little different than his look. So he might have went for some different colors there, but the colors work really well for this texture pack. But I'm really curious to see what he did. I looked at this a second here because I really thought that was a good idea for a corner torch, was a fence post. I'm going to have to write that down as cool little tricks for architecture because that was pretty smart. I like it better than just something hanging on the wall. It actually seems like it should be there. Here we're on the inside of the tower, and what's kind of cool about this is he's got the symbols pasted into the walls, kind of Egyptian symbols, so that's pretty neat. And it's a big open in space. I assume he's still doing a few things with this as I kind of climb these stairs and we see just a little bit. There's like a platform that he might do something there. And then I believe we get up here and there's a little bit more. It was kind of an interesting place for a red or the netherstone netherrack, burning netherrack, but I'm sure he was trying to go for a lighting source of some sort and was just trying to mix it up a little bit. And then we move into a nice tower which leads up to obviously the big ball that's up on the top, and he's done a good job of lighting that up. And this is the kind of the top area. I thought I'd kind of jump out and just give us a look from outside or up on top of this tower, and we can really get a good idea of the scale and what he's done geometrically with the circles, which I really like. So this is probably one of my favorite views of his town, is kind of up in the air. If you could fly or you're coming in on a dragon, I think you're going to be very impressed. Obviously, you can't fly on this server, but I guess when you're coming in the dragon, that's where you could see it. So here I'm just giving you just a few. There's appears to be the 4 gates, or I believe there's 3 gates and a port. So we'll check those out, and I'm going to take the quick way down here and just parachute down. You can get a little idea of how far this is. So this is definitely a very tall tower. Lots of work went into it, and he's got a really great design that I just really like the use of these two colors. This black and this yellow look really good. All right. So we've got a nice front archway that's very Egyptian. And here we go. Now the other cool thing here is that I happen to see Axe. He's out there in the middle, and he's I believe he's working on his town still. So I'm sure it's going to be open pretty soon for people to buy land, but we'll go ahead and check out the port here. He's got a couple of nice Egyptian style boats. We've all seen kind of some boats on the server before, even over the last renditions of the server, but I think this is my first one I've seen of the Egyptian ones where he's even created the look of, the row, the rowing. I'm forgetting the name of the actual thing I want to say there, but I forget the name of these, like a trimene or something like that. Maybe they'll post in the comments what type of boat this is, but it's an Egyptian style, an early, even might have even seen it in early Greek style or something like that, and it's I really like it. I mean, it's just, if I was gonna make a boat, that's just really cool. Here's a good picture of the tower there. We can see in the background. The sun's starting to come up, so we're getting to really see, what this structure looks like. That's just an impressive central structure. I'm kind of making my way over here to the other gate just to see if there's anything here. We came in the gate that had the pyramid and the two sphinxes, and that's where the portal is. We just looked at the port, and then I wanted to take a look out this other gate, and we'll see if there's anything out here. Alright, well, this appears that maybe it'll go somewhere else at some point, but for now there's nothing out that way. I think one of the things I read on his board there was that inside the structure there were certain building types that you could use, but if you want to do farmlands and things like that, that was going to be outside of this structure. So that could very well be a road that leads to those kind of things. Again, I'm getting a little bit of the screen problem here just because it's loading in so much stuff, but we'll just kind of keep going. It's a very big structure, hard to see all at once. It looks great from the World of Eldin map too. If you're at the web page and you click on the server map, you can really pick it out and find it pretty good. Here I look at another gate, and this one I believe leads to another town possibly, and I can see there was a cool kind of aqueduct here that he created. So I liked how that looked. But I didn't actually follow that out any further. I assumed that wasn't more of his town, and I think that might lead out to maybe where his son's town is or something like that. So as you can see, he's got the walls up, he's got a central structure up, he's got his kind of his, I believe it really appears to be like the build pattern or theme that he's going for. I think he's got that finally figured out after, you know, he tried several different designs as far as the wall structures and things like that. He's probably pretty happy with that. He's going to start probably making more of the interior structures, like probably stores and things like that, and then probably open it up for people who'd like to buy land and then also build there. So here's one last look from on top of the pyramid. I just want to say thank you for joining us for this city tour, and we hope to see you in the next one. This is Ragemore, and thanks for watching.